So welcome everyone to the Foreclosures Daily webinar. We are your host tonight. My name is Nancy Wallace-Laabs and I'm joined by
Kelcie Leka.
Kelcie Leka. And we are the founders of Money Making Mamas, and we partner with ForeclosuresDaily.com. So let's talk about ForeclosuresDaily.com because they are your trusted nationwide real estate lead partner. If you're looking for leads, look no further. They have a nationwide reach, so they can go into all states. I'm in Texas, they're in Florida, but they do Maryland, they do California, they do, you name it, they do it. So they connect investors, realtors, attorneys, and first-time buyers with high-quality leads. They're an industry leader in the list. Is that a word? List. They provide lists of leads. There you go. They've been in business since 2004, and they are the top internet's destination for detailed, timely real estate information. And I can attest to that because, as we're going to say later, we've been a client of theirs since 2018, and I've used other list companies, and the leads that I get from ForeclosuresDaily.com always have real estate. So some of the leads out there, you have to kind of be careful because they don't always have real estate in them. So they have expertise that you can trust, and they have a commitment to excellence, which ensures that you receive the most accurate and up-to-date data available. So how are Foreclosures Daily different from other lead companies? Well, first off, they're real estate focused. Their lists come with real estate specific information. And depending on the type of list you get, you'll get the information either daily, weekly, or monthly. So I specialize in their pre-probate leads, and I get those every Wednesday like clockwork. So it's really good. So when we talk about marketing and being consistent, that's very important to have a lead source that you can continually market to. They also have property appraisal information on their lead list. So that helps. And it's a benefit from a property appraiser data on most data types. All the ones that I've worked, they always have that information, which is good if you're looking for, luxury properties, or you're looking for properties that, like for me, I market to properties that have an ARV of up to $300,000. So I'm not necessarily marketing to $1 million properties, but they're on there. Their lists are specialized for real estate, unlike reports from other companies. Their data is farmed exclusively for the real estate market. And as I said before, there's other list companies out there. I personally use them. And what I found is that they didn't always have real estate. So they might have gun collections or art collections or coin collections or no real estate at all. So that the Foreclosures Daily prioritizes delivering up-to-date target information to keep you ahead of the game. Now, what type of leads do they have? Well, I already talked about the pre-probate. I've been using probate, pre-probate, the divorce, absentee owners, code violations, eviction, inheritance, auctions, tax lates, lis pendes, cash buyers. So they have a lot of lists, and you can use these lists to create different marketing campaigns depending on what you as an investor or realtor are looking for. So I partner with some realtors here. I'm a realtor as well, but I don't list properties, but I do partner with other realtors because they want to list high-end properties or properties that I'm not going to market to. Now, in addition to the lead list, they don't just sell you a list and go, okay, good luck, hope that works out for you. They really are a support system for you. So they give you tools and resources and let you know how you can enhance your marketing. And so really the sky is the limit. So one, direct mailing, that we're going to talk about that tonight, but there's a company that they partner with called Marketing by Hand, and that's not included. It's a separate cost. But if you want to have someone else write the cards for you or write the letters for you, that Marketing by Hand does a great job, and it's basically done for you. You give them access to the list, they'll do it, they'll mail it out, and all you do is sit and answer the phone. Maybe you don't want to answer the phone, so you can use Drop Cowboy, you can use Live Operators. So if you literally just want to get the list, upload it, and have someone else manage it in terms of like doing the marketing and answering the calls, you can do all of that. Plus, they give you sample letters. They give you resources for different website companies that can help you with the website if that's something you want to do, and private money lenders. And then tonight we're going to talk a little bit about skip tracing and how that kind of plays a role into marketing your Foreclosures Daily leads. So basically, they don't just sell you a list. They sell you a support system where you can get not only quality leads, but how to market to them. And then after tonight's webinar, you'll have a great understanding of how you can get started, even if you have a small budget. So here's just an example of marketing by hand and what they do. So they have, you can see the pictures. So they look like handwritten cards. And the name of the game in direct marketing is to get somebody to open your letter, right? It doesn't matter if the letter is going to go in the trash, you're not going to get the deal, right? So the idea is that you want to get the cards, the letters, the postcards read, and then the person to take action. So for me personally, I use the cards here. I don't know if you can see it very well, but it looks like a birthday card or a wedding invitation or whatever. And this one, we're going to talk about return mail. But that's what I use for the types of marketing that I do. Now, when you become a client of Foreclosures Daily, you get all these bonuses. So not only do you have this like wonderful support system, but you're going to learn about how to do a 6-step mailing campaign and a follow-up strategy and phone scripts and pre-written email templates for attorneys, because if you're working with probate, then you might want to do a marketing campaign to attorneys. Professionally designed postcards and letters. You get yours truly. Can you see that? Winning Deals and Heels. You'll get a copy of my book, bestseller, Winning Deals and Heels. It's my story of me and 9 other women here in the DFW area about how we started and how we started and got support for becoming real estate investors. You'll get exclusive links for discounted mail rates, for skip tracing, webinar training on different marketing techniques like what's happening tonight. And then I did a video for Foreclosures Daily on how I market to pre-probate leads. So that's just good information. If that's something that you want to learn more about, you'll have access to that as well. Now let's talk about what does it cost, right? Because I think a lot of people, when they think about marketing, they're like, well, how much money do I need? Okay, so one of the things that Kelcie did is she had $500. So we bought a list, okay, and she got her first deal off of a list from ForeclosuresDaily.com. As I said, I've been using their leads since 2018. So the way it works is the more you buy in terms of length of time, the better a deal you can get. So for under $2,000, you can see $1,750 for 52 weeks. That's a whole year. Because I can tell you from my experience is that you are going to want to, it takes a little while depending on the types of leads that you're doing, but it could take 60 to 90 days to, really get your phone working and getting in the swing of how to market them. So for probate, pre-probate, inheritance, there's always a special webinar. After our webinar, you can reach out to your representative at ForeclosuresDaily.com. So if you want to just sign up for 12 weeks, just want to try it out, it's going to be about $600. But then you can add on. See how they have an add-on? So then you can add on another county for 50% off of that. $999 for 26 weeks, buy one, get one. And then, as I said, so what I always have done is the 52 weeks, and that's what's worked for me. And I can, just to give you an idea, so for about every 100 to 150 quality leads that I get from Foreclosures Daily, we're averaging around $5,000. Okay, so it pays for itself. Like you'll pay for your leads, your cost of your leads within the first year. Then if you're in Florida and you want to get the foreclosures, then you're going to pay like $479 for 3 months and $800, a little less, penny less, for 6 months. That's $159 savings, or for the whole year, $1,299. And then you can always add on other counties. You can pay like $1,000 for per 500, and that's meaning like a la carte, like you could get absentee or free and clear or tax lates. So just talk to your representative, and because you were part of this webinar tonight, they want to offer you this special deal. Now, let's dive into why you came here tonight. So we're going to be talking about simple marketing strategies to turn leads into profits. So what we're going to be talking about tonight is what Kelcie and I have done and what I've done and kind of learned over the years as a real estate investor. So as I said, I'm Nancy. Kelcie is my daughter, and we founded Money Making Mamas, which you can go to our website and find out more about that. But really, we focus on helping moms learn how to make money in real estate investing. So we're investors, coaches, sure, I can't even talk tonight. Educators, thank you. And we talk about real strategies, real stories, and real results. So it's not like we're sitting here going, okay, yeah, we still actively invest. Just a little bit more about me. So I'm a national speaker, I'm a best-selling author. And if you have any questions, you can always email me at nancy@moneymakingmamas.com. Later today, Kelsey's going to talk about social media marketing, and you can always, if you have questions you want to follow up with her, you can contact her at Kelcie@moneymakingmamas.com. So Kelcie, her little backstory is, you want to tell in a couple minutes, tell your backstory, Kelcie.
Yeah. So, basically, I was a manager at a Fortune 500 company for inside sales team and pregnant with my second baby. And by the time maternity leave came to an end, I quickly realized that I just wanted to be home with my kids. And daycare costs ultimately were my paycheck was going to daycare costs. And they were getting sick, and it was just not it was not fun for our family. And so I've always been on the sidelines investing in the garage, painting cabinets, helping mom and my dad when they were investing. And so I went to her and I just said, hey, can you teach us? Can you walk me and my husband through a couple deals? And so, sure thing, we started investing, and that ultimately replaced my paycheck. And now I get to spend time with the kids, and they're here with me, and I'm making money basically on the side while raising them.
Yay. Thank you for sharing. So, and we're excited about marketing because you and I have
Yes.
like talked about marketing forever. So, all right. So we called this simple marketing strategies because we're not, PR experts. We're not social media experts. We're just real estate investors who, over the years, especially me, over the years, have learned through trial and error what works and doesn't work when you're dealing with most of the time distressed sellers, because that's the type of leads that you're going to get from ForeclosuresDaily.com. Because pre-probate, as I said, that I specialize in, when I get the leads on Wednesday, typically the person passed away just 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? So, I can't just call up or, text them and say, hey, you want to sell that property, right? Probate, divorce, foreclosure, all these people are going through some kind of financial or emotional stress. So it's a little bit different than just, farming a neighborhood to see if somebody wants to list their house for sale. So why does marketing even matter in real estate investing? And if you have a side business or you work at a company, you know that marketing is basically the soul of how a company makes money. Because let's get real, if nobody knows who you are, nobody can buy your product or what you're selling or what your service is. So most investors spend time collecting lists, but they never turn them into real opportunities. Because I have talked to people who say, well, I get those lists and I don't know what to do with them. Or, I sent a letter or postcard once and I didn't do anything. Well, once is not going to get it. So the difference between the success and stagnation is effective marketing, right? And so what we're going to do in this webinar tonight is show you how to bridge the gap. And what you're going to learn today is simple marketing workflows that actually convert leads, and based on how we've done it, how to leverage Foreclosures Daily lists effectively, and if you have a budget-friendly marketing options for beginners, because a lot of times when people are new or they haven't made their first deal yet, they don't have much money. They don't have tens of thousands of dollars to spend on Google ads or, Facebook ads or whatever it is. So, and we're going to talk more about the compliance side of it as we talk about text marketing and also the do not call list. So let's talk first about what are the biggest challenges in facing the real estate market that you have to face is competition, right? So even though I get the pre-probate list, I'm not the only investor in the DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth area that's using that list. However, I am probably one of the very few investors in the DFW area that partner with funeral homes because of my expertise with pre-probate. Now, that didn't just happen overnight. It was through trial and error of many years. So 2018 to now, what is that, like 7 years? But so let's talk about the marketing challenges that investors face and how you can overcome them. So, one, lead generation and customer acquisition. So, if you're into wholesaling and you talk about, I mean, they have acquisition managers, right? That's what they're doing. They have to have a lead, they have to get the house or the property under contract, so they have to be able to negotiate with the seller. So, where do you find those leads? Okay, a hint is ForeclosuresDaily.com. I mean, yes, you can do driving for dollars and you can do, referrals, and we do all of those things too. But really, when it comes right down to it, if you want to do mass marketing and you want to have the biggest impact as far as getting deals and finding off market properties, Foreclosures Daily lists are where you're going to want to go. So, budget and resource constraints. So, when I first started out, it was just me, and I've hired VAs and I've had part time people. Now, Kelcie and I do it together, but she's still learning, so she can't talk to as many sellers, or she doesn't have the time to talk to as many sellers because she's got her little babies, my grandbabies that are 3 and 2, and it would be very hard to talk to a seller about, hey, I want to buy your house, and you have a 2-year-old screaming in the background. So she can't, when the phone rings, we have it set up that it comes to me first, and if she can't answer it, it has to go to voicemail. But you don't have to have a huge marketing budget. In fact, Kelcie's story is that she had $500 and we bought a list, and that's how she got her first deal. And then she's gotten her first deal with less than $1,000. So you don't have to have a ton of money to get started. And really, when I do direct marketing, and these cards, I'm telling you, I get them off of Amazon. I think they're like, I don't know, less than 20 cents per card. If you order them in bulk, you get them more. And the biggest expense is first class postage, right? So that's really my biggest expense. So you don't need a huge marketing budget to make an impact. You can, start out with 100 cards a month if you want to. But you do have to measure what works. So that's where we're going to talk about the return on investment. So when I talked about, okay, I've done, I've kind of tracked my progress over the years. So if I'm mailing out, 100 cards, 150 cards, I'm going to get properties under contract. Now, do I make $5,000 every single month? No, but over the course of the 12-month period, yes, I do. Because one deal, I might make $30,000, right? So it just depends on, what you're looking for and that kind of thing. So so you want to track what works and how much money you're spending. And then market adaptation. So, okay, the market shifts right now. It's slowly coming into a buyer's market, which is good for investors, right? The way you know that is because the days on market are longer. The interest rates really haven't fallen. So properties are sitting, now it depends on your particular market, right? So I'm just going to talk about what's happening here in the DFW area. So properties that are under $300,000, they're still flying off the shelf, right? But the higher end properties, they're staying there a little bit longer. And then increased competition. And you can just see it on Facebook every day. There's a new investor popping up, or if you contact a seller, especially on the foreclosures list. The foreclosure list is a very hot list. A lot of people that are starting out are told to get the foreclosures list. It's like the low-hanging fruit because those people are in trouble. But if you've ever door knocked, which I have, if you've ever tried to send letters to them, which I have, you will find out that that is a very competitive list, meaning that there are many, many investors trying to buy properties off of the foreclosure list. That's why I like the pre-probate list. It's not as competitive. So, but again, am I the only one? No, I'm not. Now, here is just a little example of where you could spend your marketing dollars if you have them. I mean, maybe you don't even have them. So, a lot of what Kelcie and I do, we do social media organic. Now, we're not looking for sellers here, but you could go on to Facebook and say, hey, I buy houses. And you could have a whole marketing campaign letting the public know that you buy, properties in a distressed situations. One of the things that we've done is we've partnered with a lot of nonprofits because then they know, oh, okay, we buy houses that, we don't say we buy ugly houses, but we will. But that we buy houses when, if people can't sell them. A lot of networking events I go to are realtor focused, and I just let realtors know, hey, I buy houses that you can't sell. Email marketing. I think I've got to get my little thingy here. Marketing technology, my little things there. your content and digital advertising. So you could spend money on CRMs, you could spend money on, having somebody do the content for you, or you could learn really good prompts and use ChatGPT. So this is just saying if you do have a budget, you should be not spending more than 30% of your budget just on this digital advertising. And unless you're making a lot of money, I wouldn't even go here, right? You can do a lot with $500 or less. Now, but you do have to get noticed, right? And these are just some statistics I pulled off of Google. So there are 5,000 plus messages that people see every day. They're trying to sell toothpaste. I don't know if y'all have been, it's been popping up on my Instagram and feedback, this whitening toothpaste stuff that is subscription based and $24. And I was like, okay. And people's attention span. I mean, think about TikTok. Think about YouTube shorts. Think about, people, they're scrolling, right? So if you're trying to use social media to get sellers to come to you, you've got to be super powerful. We have not found that to be an effective marketing strategy to get off-market deals. Brand confusion. So one of the things that Kelcie and I have really worked on this past year is our brand. Like, who do we serve? We had somebody come up to us at a networking event saying we were missing half the population because we market to moms, right? Okay, hey guys, it's not that we don't want to help you, right? But our focus, our niche, because you need a niche, is moms. And we have two segments, which are younger moms like Kelcie's age and older moms like my age. So we have a niche, and I have further evolved into the pre-probate niche, where now I'm having funeral homes asking, can I be a resource for their clients? Storytelling. You don't have to have great videos. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to have filters. You just need to be able to tell a story and be authentic, right? You just be yourself. Now, I'm going to get into why all of this is important, but if you've ever seen, I love those pictures of real estate investors. One day I might do this just for fun, go out to DFW, our airport, find a private plane and just stand in front of it with, dripping jewels or what, in an evening gown and going, hey, you want to be a real estate investor? And then exceptional experience. So delivering remarkable service that creates word of mouth where you get referrals. So we get about 25% of our business from referrals. So simple content ideas and posting strategy. So one of the things you're going to do, now again, this is you're looking for distressed people in distress, right? People that you can help. You're solving a problem. So what could you do? Kelcie, this is your section, right? On the, let me make sure. Did I skip ahead? Oh, I did. Sorry, guys. Let's go back. Okay. So you want to be able to turn challenges into competitive advantage. So you want to start small, think big, invest in learning, and take action. So if you showed up tonight, good for you. We're proud of you that you took the steps to learn how to do effective marketing on these foreclosures and pre-probate leads. Now, there should be a flow to your marketing. So number one, you're going to get your list, right? Okay, so we're just going to say you all are going to sign up for the Foreclosures Daily list because there's no other place that you can get as good of lead list as Foreclosures Daily. And you're going to start with your high quality lead data from Foreclosures Daily, and you're going to enhance your list. So what I do is after I get my list, then I separate or segment my list. So I'll get a list of, say, every week I'll get a list of, let's say, 100 names. And of the 100 names, the property value will be anywhere from $0 to $5 million. And I already said that I don't market to $5 million properties. So what I do is I have a year. So I only look for properties that are built 1984. My criteria, 1984 or newer. I want properties that have an ARV of $350,000 or less. And so I might only have 50 names out of that 100, or maybe I only have 30. It doesn't really matter because those are the people that I want to market to. And then I'm going to choose my channel. So in the beginning, I used to download the list, get the phone numbers, and I had a Mojo dialer, and I did cold calling. I have done it all. I've done cold calling. I've done text messaging. I've had VAs call for me. And so what I do now that works the most effective for us is I do direct mail. And I really focus on, using something, a fellow investor of mine, he used to send out 8.5 by 11, just your regular envelope letters. They were letter size. And he put a ballpoint pen in there, very skinny one, so they could feel that there was something in there, but they didn't know. Because his tip was, you want them to open the letter. That's the whole point of it. And then he would put his name and phone number on it because they'd throw the letter away, but they'd keep the pen, right? So and that was a very good marketing tip for him. So you want to choose your channel, and that also goes to your budget. And then you want to follow up consistently. So you want to track responses, re-engage. So when they come back, like the address, you want to be able to skip trace that or follow up. And then you want to close the deal, meaning you want to turn meaningful conversations into signed contracts. So you have to have kind of a flow of how you're going to market it. You can't just randomly, I mean, I have done that. I would get a list from another company and I would have a bunch of postcards. I'd have like 5,000 cards sent out to people. And I had really, because it was so big, I had no way of really tracking when people called and, or they came back. And there were so many of them that came back that I couldn't afford to skip trace them because there were too many of them. So direct mail marketing that gets noticed. Why it works. It's tangible, personal, and stands out in a less crowded space than digital channels. I mean, think about it. When's the last time you got a card, a birthday card or something in the mail besides, something you're going to throw away or something personalized? So I like the fact that I have them handwritten, right? Now, I have a mom in my neighborhood that she has beautiful writing, and she writes these cards for me, and they look like a birthday card. And they're very, they look like a birthday invitation. See, just like this. There you go. I don't know if you can see that very good, but I like that. Now, if I do have a lot of people that I want to, I'll do a postcard. And they're like little funky postcards. They look like my grandson made them. So I use postcards for quick visibility or handwritten letters for a personal touch and have a clear call to action. It's a very simple message. It is, I'm interested in the house at 123 Main Street. If you're interested in selling, call me. I don't say, hey, I see that you're going through divorce. Oh, hey, I see that, someone in your family died. I just say, hey, I want to buy the house. So here's a little budget tip. If you have, a small budget, you buy your list and you start out with just 100 to 200 targeted mailers per week. And then you mail that list about 2 or 3 times to get people to respond. And they'll respond one way or the other. They'll either say, hey, yay, call you, or say, don't ever send me anything again. So skip tracing and staying compliant. So the biggest thing with skip tracing is, 1, can you afford it? And 2, the company that you use, is it going to give you reliable data? So skip tracing, so I showed you a couple of these cards that they were undeliverable, right? And so I could go to the tax record and look them up and then say, okay, the house hasn't sold, or check the MLS. So I might want to use a software to actually skip trace to see if I can find the owner or find someone who's related to the owner. Now, there's several tools and apps that you can use. I personally have used TLO with TransUnion. I found it to be the most reliable. It does take a little bit to get qualified to use them. You have to show that you have that you're compliant and that you're going to shred the information. You have a locked cabinet, that kind of thing. And you always want to scrub your list against the do not call list, right? So there's all kinds of ways to do that. So basically you get the list from Foreclosures Daily, you upload it to one of these resource tools to either get the phone number or skip or whatever. Sorry about that. So you have to figure out your budget, because number of files to skip trace, because TLO was like, I think at the time it was like $175 a month, right? That's pretty pricey, but I had an unlimited number of files that I could do. And then the quality of the information that I got was always spot on. Cold calling. So I used to, in my former days, I used to manage blood bank call centers. So I've learned a thing or two about call centers and cold calling. And so one of my tips to you right now is, if you're going to cold call, some people love it. I'm not a fan of it, but I have done it. I do it. So first of all, you want to set up your system. So for me, as I said, I've had a Mojo dialer. So Mojo dialer, what it does is you download your list into the dialer and it dials ahead. So it'll be dialing. You can set it up to dial 2 lines, 3 lines, or whatever. And I've had other people on there when I had a bigger staff. I've had VAs use it. Um, you just have to make sure with those things because you can, if you set it too fast and it's ringing lines, it anticipates when you're going to hang up and it starts calling the next number. So you can dial like, 20, 25 people in an hour. We use Google Voice. Everybody can get a free Google phone number, and that's what you can use. Because people say, well, should I use my cell phone number? Should I use what number? Do I need to buy another phone? No, just get you a Google Voice. I also have used a system where I want to say it was called Ring Central or something. Anyway, I could, for around $35, you got 10 different lines and it would record the call. So that was really good too. When you do cold calling, the biggest thing about cold calling is you don't want to sound like you're nervous because nobody wants to, or you don't know what you're saying. So the first thing you want to do is you want to smile before you dial. This is in our training. We always told people, hey, smile, because when you smile, it actually makes your voice lighter, right, and sound more friendly. And you want to use this very simple script. Like if you are cold calling a list, these people don't know who you are. And a lot of people maybe your number will come up as spam, but when they do answer, you only have a few seconds to get their attention. So you want to make sure that you are saying, introducing yourself and that you're calling about their property at this address. And you just want to see if they're interested in selling. Now, they could hang up on you. Could they say yes? They could say, how'd you get my name? So you just kind of have to be prepared. But the main thing is to get them to stay on the phone. And then you want to track and follow up and log every call. Like have some way to log the calls. Okay, I want to make sure I'm not... Okay, let's talk about text message marketing. So I have done this, and I can't say I'm a big fan of it. I don't like it when wholesalers or other people text me about, do I want to buy a property? This might be I don't know, Kelcie, you probably don't have a problem with text messaging, right? Because it's kind of I think it might, is it a generational thing, do you think? Maybe?
I think so.
Yeah. So it does work. It's very direct. And, if you're afraid of cold calling, hey, do text messaging because you can take rejection from the text that you might not be able to take when they're, yelling and screaming at you. You want to craft your message, keep it short, friendly, like, hi, this is Nancy with KBN Homes. Are you interested in selling your property at, and then the address. I'd love to chat if you're open to it. Do I use chat? Sometimes not. I'll just say, hey, are you open to talking about it? So something very, very simplistic, right? Don't do a whole long thing because it's going to just be deleted. And the resources that you can use are Twilio, Simple Texting, and Slick Text. And with Google Voice, you can also do texting, right? So, okay, I want to make sure I'm getting this screen here. I don't want to go... All right, I'm turning it over to Miss Kelcie because she does all of our social media. So she's much more of an expert on social media than I am. So Kelcie, hit it.
Yes. So I know social media. Oh, Nancy, can you mute yourself really quick?
Yes.
I think I'm echoing a little bit. Um, yeah, so you might be wondering why social media is important when becoming a real estate investor in this industry. And it really is a way of just building your brand at a very, very, very low cost and ultimately building credibility. So so when we started Money Makin Mamas, a lot of conversations was around social media and how to market. And a lot of people, they won't go to Google right away, at least my generation. They'll go to social media. They'll go to Instagram and look at your profile and see what you're putting out in the world. So ultimately, social media builds trust and keeps you top of mind with potential sellers. If they're following you and they just you come up on their feed and it's like, oh, hey, I can reach out to this person when I'm ready to sell. There's so many platforms out there, so you can really focus on what you would like to hone in on. I would recommend for just not starting out, not jumping into all the platforms unless you really want to. But Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn are going to be the top platforms to use. I know TikTok is out there as well and X, but you don't need fancy equipment for being on any of those. And then what do you post? So depending on your style and how you want to build your brand, you want to share valuable tips and information that can be shared with other people. So if I see someone's post and it's like, oh, that's a really good tip, I'm going to send it to so and so, that's a great way to get your number out or your name out there and build that credibility. Success stories, lessons. You want to show a little bit of your personal life, not too much, but think of it as a 70-30 balance. People want to get to know you, but maybe you don't want to show every single detail of your life going on. Um, and your goal ultimately at the end of the day is just to be seen as approachable, knowledgeable, and consistent in your community. And, oh, go back really quick. Going back to what to post, we have I just want to talk about two people that I know that are both real estate investors. One is a little bit younger than me, and she'll post really trendy, really like flashy videos, and that works really well for her. And then I also have another one that does more of pictures, like before and afters of properties and things like that, and a little bit less flashy. So either one works for just what kind of brand you're wanting to build on social media. Okay. And then simple content ideas and posting strategy. So I just mentioned one, but before and after transformations. I mean, this is ultimately a great industry to be in for social media because as long as you have a property, you can do like, I mean, as long as you're working on that property, you can post about it. And um, or your day to day of just setting up your phone while you're looking at a lead list or properties or analyzing, even such a behind the scenes educational tips. Kind of maybe you do a Win Wednesday and it's little tidbits on Wednesdays that you post about. And again, it's building that trust and credibility out there. And the more you kind of help others, you're just gonna be top of mind. Wins and lessons, celebrate closed deals, share what you learned from challenges. Maybe you um, had an obstacle that you went through, talk about it, post a minute long video on Instagram or Facebook Live or whatever you want to do, and talk about that challenge and how you overcame it. And then, like I said earlier, behind the scenes, what does the day to day look like when you're not at a property? What does a day to day look like when you are analyzing a property? And then consistency is key. So ultimately, at the end of the day, if you want to post every single day, go for it, but stay consistent. If you want to post 3 to 5 times a week, go for it, stay consistent. So there's so many tools out there. When we started Money Making Mamas, it really was just us, going on Instagram at 9 a.m. and going on Facebook at 6 p.m. But now we have tools out there that work really well for us. As those dollars came in, we started investing a little bit more into our marketing strategy. So that's how social media can help you when you're marketing.
Yes, I'm just going to add to that, Kelcie, because we haven't done it in a while. I just thought of it, but we used to, or when I would close a deal or help a seller, because I switched over to pre-probate, it's kind of hard to get the family to say, "Oh, Nancy really helped us when Dad passed away and we had to do something with their house." But in the foreclosure and divorce, in the past, I've gotten video reviews from past sellers because you have to look at social media as two ways. One, people can't look you up on the yellow pages, and they need to go somewhere, and they usually will go on some kind of social media to find out if you're legit or not. Especially in the wholesaling, wholesalers get a lot of bad raps, and if you want to build credibility, you can use testimonials from sellers that you've helped out of their jam. So your action plan. So let's do this. I want you to start simple and stay consistent. If you don't have a big budget, if you're just starting out or you're just like, I don't even know what to do. So just choose a channel, like, is it going to be direct mail? Is it going to be texting? Is it social media? And master one before you add on. Like Kelcie said, we were, before Kelcie and I did it, I was just like, okay, I'm going to randomly post about short-term rentals, and because I've done so many things, or I'm going to talk about, how to invest with a self-directed IRA. So it was all over the board, right? So I probably should have just stuck to one thing, but master one before adding another, and then week 2 to 4, just be consistent no matter what you're doing, and just try it for 30 days. If you're going to do text messaging, if you're going to do cold calling, if you're going to do direct mail, just try it for 30 days. Track every interaction and how, what the response rate is. And then analyze and adjust. Review your results, what worked, what didn't, double down on what's working, and refine your approach based on real data. So if you get the data, let's say from ForeclosuresDaily.com, and you get stuck, you can always call your representative, or you can always, reach out to me and say, hey, I'm stuck. What should I do? Why isn't anybody calling? Or why am I not closing deals? Let's talk about what your marketing message is. And then your low budget marketing toolkit. So direct small batch mailers to targeted lists. So I think postage is 73 cents per first class now. You could do bulk. If I do postcards, I can do bulk. But the thing with bulk mail or even postcards, I think postcards, I don't know, are they 32 cents? I don't even know anymore. Because when I do those, I just do a lot, and I usually have a mail house do those for me. But when you do bulk mail, there has to be at least 200 pieces, and they have to be going to the same zip code. So sometimes it's hard to do that, to get a bulk price is what I'm trying to get at. Skip tracing, make sure whoever you're using, it's accurate contact information, and ask them to send you a sample of the kind of information that you're going to get, because you want to know, okay, well, if I'm getting stuff that's like 10 years old, that's not going to help you, right? Or if they're only going to send you 1 or 2 contacts to try and reach somebody, that's not going to be enough. You might need 5, 7, 10 of them. On the Google, on the cold calling, just get your Google voice going. Or if you want to go all in like I did, and spend the money to get a Mojo dialer and get it all set up. The reason I say there are other dialers out there, but Mojo is very friendly, and when I used it, it's probably increased. But I think a lot of these are subscription based, and of course, if you pay for the whole year, you get more of a discount. But if you want to just do it for a month to see how it goes, I would give yourself at least 2 months, because it's going to you're going to need a little runway to get up and going, right? Texting can be low cost with high response rates. So, hey, go for it on the texting. And then social media can be absolutely free, except a little bit of your time. We do use Vista Social, and we love it. So now we do have a marketing checklist for beginners. So if you're somebody like, what is happening here? We're going to ask you to reach out, and we will send that to you. So here it is. So I want to talk about leveling up your marketing. So we've talked about cold calling. We've talked about direct marketing. We've talked about texting. But you know what? There's another marketing that you can do, and it really can be beneficial when you are trying to make connections with distressed sellers. So that is writing a book, okay, which I've done, right? And Kelcie and I just finished another book that's more about her story from daycare to deal, how moms are turning $500 into financial freedom. We started a podcast, right? So when we talk about on our podcast, we talk about, okay, here's the myths of real estate investing. So we're setting ourselves up as, not that we know everything, but if you have a book, if you have a podcast, if you get published somewhere, you can just write an article, right? Reach out to your community newsletter and tell people what you do. That's how I got in with funeral homes. And now I write newsletters. I write articles for newsletters for funeral homes. So collaborate, networking, right? And teach to learn. So I'm a realtor, and I actually teach investing courses at our local realtor association. So now, can you do all of that like overnight? No, but these are things you can aspire to, and it's kind of like marketing beyond the basics, right? So we put in these same steps into practice by creating the podcast and publishing our own ebook, and that proof that marketing yourself can open new doors, build authority, and attract opportunity. Because, when I go to a networking event or my chamber, I take my book. And so that, Nancy's a real estate investor, because that's the whole point. You're trying to get these sellers that you're marketing to say what sets you apart from every other investor out there that's also reaching out to them. Now, we have a free marketing checklist, so we've tried to figure out how to get this all to you. So we don't want to just email everybody. So here's what we want you to do. We want you to give us a follow, because we are trying to build up our Instagram, both on Money Makin Mamas and Nancy Wallace-Laabs. So I am about 70 people short of 1,000. So this year I'm trying to get us 1,000. So please go to Nancy Wallace-Laabs and follow me on Instagram. And you can also email me to get your free marketing checklist. And then you're also connected to us for future trainings, tips, and opportunities. So if you want to get that free marketing checklist, just follow us. And you can put in the comment, I didn't put this here, but you could put in the comment, hey, send me the checklist. What word do you want them to use, Kelcie, to do the checklist?
Let's do
Checklist? Okay, all right. Okay, so that's all we have for this month. So do we have any questions, Kelcie?
Not yet.
Okay, any questions about marketing? Okay, I'm going to go here. I don't want to stop the share yet. 23.
How are you sending the checklist again?
We'll email that to them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No questions? Does that mean that we covered everything? Does anybody want to know about how to get funeral homes? Okay. No questions tonight, huh? Y'all are being quiet. Oh, is there a question here? Oh, okay. All right. Brittany, thank you. Just send us an email. How do you get numbers? Oh, okay. Good question. Okay. So the way you get the phone numbers is you do have to upload they don't come on the Foreclosures Daily list, right? So there's different software companies that you can upload to get the phone number. And again, you want to do, because there's a cost to it, and most of them charge per name. Right. So when I do that, remember when I was talking about segmenting the list? So let's say I get 500 leads in a month, and I'm not going to want to cold call every single one of those because they might not be in the area. They might not be, they might be out of my price criteria. So I have to segment the list. So then I get that list down to 20, 30. And then when I upload the list to the software company, and there's multiple ones, right? So you have to upload it and then scrub it against the do not call list. So it's a little bit of a process, but if you email me, I can let you know how to do that. So how do you manage time as a mom? Kelcie, I think that's a question for you.
Yeah. So, I do utilize nap times and quiet times, and really you only need 15 minutes a day. And when I first started, it was more on like I would try to spend like 2 to 3 hours total for the whole entire week. And so however I broke it up. So if it was 15 minutes one day or if it was 30 minutes the next, I know as moms, like 8 o'clock comes around, or whatever time after you put the kids to bed, and like some days I'm mentally drained. I can only give 15 minutes. Some other days I give 30 minutes. But during the days, one thing I've done is I've taken the kids with me. Driving for dollars, we don't get out of the car. They have snack time, and it's we're getting out of the house, but we're driving in neighborhoods that obviously if it's like super sketch, we're not driving in those neighborhoods by ourselves. I will call someone, and either my husband or Nancy to come with me. But if I'm looking for properties, I'll just drive around in a neighborhood and kind of write down an address. Okay, that house looks a little distressed, things like that, and they'll be with me in the car, and we'll do snack time. And then when I go and when there actually is properties, I never go by myself, but with the kids, but I've taken Nancy and or my husband, and either we'll stay in the car or I'll stay in the car, my husband will go, or we can all go depending on the type of property. But yeah, I just don't try to do an hour, 2 hours every single day. Give yourself 15 to 30 minutes a day, and that's how I've managed it.
Okay, thank you, Kelcie. Okay, so the next question from how long are your pre-probate leads good for? Well, so there is good. Let me give you an example of the pre-probate because there's usually a longer close time with those. So I have literally marketed to the pre-probates, and I'll usually send somewhere between 3 and 5 different cards, letters to the pre-probate families, and I space them out about 3 to 4 weeks apart. So I actually sent a lady a card, didn't hear back from her at all until a year later. She literally had my card, and it was dated, it was a year ago, December. Because when you're dealing with families in the pre-probate, usually it's the father, mother, spouse. that has passed away. So there's a lot of grief around these families that are in distress. So when you say pre-probate leads are as good as, I keep working them until they're dead, okay? Until they're no longer. But after about 5 attempts, I don't continue to market to them. And then I'm just going to talk because a couple of people wanted to know about the funeral home. So the way that came about was I was at a networking event and I just talked about how we help families going through the pre-probate. So in Texas, you can buy and sell properties without having to go through probate court. So if someone has just 1 or 2 properties, usually this happens with families, the kids just want to sell the house or, they don't, and the cost of going to probate and the time it takes to get through probate can be about the average is about $3,500. So the family saves that money if they don't. So the lady that owned the funeral home, she came up to me and she, asked me to come out and train her staff about what we do and write the newsletters. And I did not know this. I don't know if this is a thing everywhere, but in Texas, I guess, if the family can't or doesn't have the funds to pay for the funeral home can actually charge storage fees until the family can pay. So she was asking me, how long does it take? So if the family has equity in the home and I buy the house, then we can write it in the contract. Just like if I was having the roof redone, I can write in the contract that XYZ funeral home will get paid from the proceeds. And so she was like really excited about that. So then she introduced me, because that's a very niche group, if you will. So she introduced me to other funeral home people. And she just liked she liked the solution that I was able to offer her to get paid when these families go through and they don't have the funds because either they didn't have insurance or they weren't the right person or whatever. So that's how that all happened. Katrina wants to know about telephone. I'm guessing like cold calling the telephone. So right now we don't use Mojo Dialer anymore. We just use Google Voice. And actually I don't do too much cold calling anymore unless it's on land. So I'm kind of in the search for land and I'm a little excited about land. So I segment. So remember when I was talking about how I segment the list? So I do direct mail pieces to people who have a single family property, but I not skip trace, but I get the phone numbers for people who have land to sell because usually that's been sitting there for a while and I want to have a conversation about the land. So I do cold call on that and I just use Google Voice. I found it, and I can actually text on Google Voice too. So I've had people, because that's the number I use, and I've had people text me on it. So that's what I do with the telephone. What does your first card/postcard say, Ann? So it is super simple. It says, Dear Smith family, I'm interested in the house at 123 Main Street. If you are interested in selling, please call me. Sincerely, Nancy and Brian, and my phone number. That is my message. And that's the message that I send 2 and 3 times. That's just the message. Because either they're interested in selling or they're not. And I don't really have anything else to say outside of, I just want to know if they're interested in selling. And it's so funny because people will call, they'll be really, really mad. And they'll remember, I said, call if you are interested in selling. It doesn't say I want to buy your house. It says if you are interested in selling. And you'd be surprised how many people call you mad that you're sending them a postcard and like, or, a letter. But that's what my message says. Okay, I already talked about the funeral homes. Which list are you seeing the best return on since foreclosure is so saturated? Okay, pre-probate and probate, hands down. Pre-probate, probate. Probate is not, it's still good list, but it's a little bit more competitive because realtors get that list. Attorneys, are working. There's a lot of attorneys that are also investors, so it's a little bit more competitive. So pre-probate, on the training that I do, I talk about, I think it's the training, I can't remember, Joe, but I think I'm doing one in November about pre-probate, but we talk about the 5 stages of grief that affect people when they're making a decision about real estate investing. So I just find you have to have a little bit more empathy and people skills with that. Miss Daya, please email us because we won't have this after we get off the call. When sellers receive your postcard and they call you, give us an idea of what you say to them. Give us an example of how a recent call went. Okay, perfect. Well, I'll give you 2. So one, I'll tell you about the lady who called after 1 year. She was a pre-probate lead. And she said, hey, I got your card, and the number one question that I get asked is, how did you get my name? That's what they want to know. And I say, I have buyers who are looking in your neighborhood, and we just mail out cards. And then that's the end of that conversation. I do disclose within the first minute or two that I am a real estate agent. However, if I purchase the home, they don't pay any real estate commission fees. And then I just let them talk. I ask them some questions about the property, and then they will tell you the story. Then this is pre-probate. Foreclosure is a little bit different. But the pre-probate people, usually if they called you, they want to talk, and they want to talk about the person who passed away. And then that's where the people skills come in about, weaving that conversation. I always say, be quiet, listen. And then I have a script that I use where I start asking them things about the property, like, oh, well, how long have you lived there? Were there any updates to the property? Are you currently living there? As they're saying that. Okay, so that's how all the calls go. I mean, she did call like a year ago, and basically she was not ready to let go of the house. So I ran some numbers for her on the property. But most of the time it's like, okay, I can come and see it. And because I market to the same area over and over again, I'm very familiar with the numbers, and I can make people after being on the phone with them, either I call them back, or if I'm at my desk, I will make an offer to them right over the phone. Yes, Brittany, the same techniques for pre-probates apply for the probate leads. So it's the same kind of principle. Thank you, Kelcie. Okay, all right. Well, we are coming up on 4 minutes till. Kelcie, did you have a chance to get everybody's email and all of that and the questions or whatnot? Okay, guys, thank you so much. I hope everyone has a safe Halloween. If you have any other questions or need other guidance, you can always reach out to Joe and Melissa, and they can get you in touch with me or whatnot. We're always here. We love partnering with Foreclosures Daily. And next month, I'm not sure, but I think it is the pre-probate month. I don't know. We're doing it we just looked at this, November 18th is our next one. So make sure you get signed up for that. Thanks much, Kelcie, for taking time. And we'll see you all later. And thanks again, and happy Halloween.
Bye.